Aye. Welcome to our meeting for today. Before we start our meeting, can you please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic under God,
which it stands, one nation, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for May 6, 2025?
So moved.
I just have to change the minutes. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's not part of it.
Number 7, it just says that the new 10 million in funding is limited to 10 bases, and that's not true. I can 7 line.
The second is limited to capital improvements in the Fed.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Well, I think it's not now, but at the time, was it?
The 10 million is anywhere.
Anywhere in the watershed.
You get it?
Yeah, we just said that.
That's good. It's in the first paragraph. You're talking about the.
That's not true.
That's good. No, that's not true.
So strike that.
Okay, so we'll strike the second.
And I think if we just add, it is not limited to capital improvements in the Fed areas, so we will work through that. But
Are you talking about the one in the first paragraph?
It is not. It is not.
It's in the first. That's it.
That's pretty,
This is there.
pretty easy to adjustment.
Thank you.
Tony, you made the motion
Yes,
with the corrections.
with the yes, so moved.
One second. So move. Financial updates?
All right, for those on the executive committee, usually the same financials you have seen, the executive committee meeting, but I'll just go through, we have a total of $13,223,000 worth of cash. $10,535,000 of that is still, bad related money. Leaves, $2,687,000 in unused and clip funds. One note I made, is that our software vendor that we run via old systems through is coming up with an 8% increase for this year. And we're transitioning from monthly payment to an annual payment, so we'll have to be booked and amortize the prepaid.
Company bought them, right?
Yeah, Momentum Software, now what their name is, instead of Abillo, and Abillo, before Abillo, it was Sage, so I mean, we changed names. They've got a parent company that's been on a buying spree. It's been buying up a bunch of small things.
What do you do? Why increase the price?
Yes, pay for it somehow. And that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions, anything? Yeah, all right. Personal policy amendment vacation.
All right, this was brought up during our audit meeting with the auditor. They had noted that our practice didn't line up with what we were actually recorded in the policy. We do allow only theoretically 40 hours to carry over per employee at the end of the year. But however, the end of the year often falls in the midst of 2 pay periods, because we pay every other week.
We do 26 weeks instead of 24, right? That's the.
Well, we pay on 26, yeah.
Yeah, so we're all.
Yeah, so, we would often have someone who's on vacation the week between Christmas and New Year's, and that would wind up, shouldn't make sense to charge them for vacation the next year, so we allow them to carry extra time over. So we've just put into the amendment to the policy to say that the 40-hour calculation will be done at the end of the first pay period of the new year. So that would capture any vacation time that's taken in that time period. It's still 40 hours, and for accounting purposes, we'll have to make an adjustment for the actual time, but this is for policy purposes only.
Any other questions?
I'll make the motion as it's written.
I'll start in.
All in favor? Reporting and compliance.
Thanks, Dr. Reporting and Compliance states, since we last met, O&M payments was sent out to municipalities. That's the first round. And then we submitted the invoice for reimbursement to Westchester County on July 8th. So that's being reviewed. And we'll probably hear something back by the end of August, and payments will probably go out to the Westchester municipalities sometime in October. And then the last item is that the 2025 payroll second quarter was filed with the IRS in New York State. And that's it. Okay.
Updates.
We are currently sitting at 755 kilograms. The out on construction for 3 projects most recently awarded was 1010E1000, which is the shy of 80 kilograms up the road here near Lake Carmel. So we're looking to get that one started within the upcoming weeks. Gradually into the fall, we'll start moving more into projects in yellow up into the green. Look to have active fall into kind of closure for a lot of the projects in spring of 2026. It's the intention. For the program as a whole, now that we're starting to get a little clarity on funding as we move forward for years 11 through 15, I am starting to look at submitting the 2026 annual work plan to the DEC. That's different than what we prepared last year. Last year was a shot of here for the next 5 years. These are all projects that will amount to 460 kilograms. This one I would go in, I believe it is due in the beginning of October, if my memory serves correctly, or at least that's what it was historically. This will be a snapshot of what we will complete in the 2026 calendar year for compliance. So that will look to be the projects that are going to start counting towards this next goal that we have laid out. There's already a lot of low hanging fruit that we'll look to knock off. It can include projects that are not already on the list that are sent to the DEC. So as always, guys, we're back into the swing of things, where if something comes up, you have something in the town, it doesn't matter, if you didn't tell me about it yet, please make sure it gets to us so we can work with you, line it up, and start bagging the credits where they're actually being executed anyway. So we'll keep pushing forward, and if there's any questions overall for the program.
Great. O&M discussions.
For O&M, we are pushing forward with use of everything that you guys have out there, any work that's been done. It is typical, but we haven't seen any slips coming to us yet. Just a few inspection reports. I ask that don't wait. Please make sure you get things into us if any work is being done. It's easier to review things that come in from the highway departments now, so we can give some tips, clues, and advice to close out the year appropriately. One item that I am discussing with executive committee probably for a approval at the, let's see, our next meeting is October, board of directors. Okay. There's, as a lot of these retrofits have been out there for some time, there is a lot of fence work that actually needs to be done to make sure that we are buying quotes and everything. The fence work is a requirement as part of the retrofit to keep the public out safe. Typically, all the fences that go around a lot of the ponds or wetlands. A lot of that is starting to decay and to the point where it needs replacement. In order to get a better price on that, it sure makes sense to me to try to grab as many as we can, review where they all are. Maybe have a Westchester County RFP and a Putnam County RFP. I've seen enough of them out there that I think that it's worth investigating, see what that price is going to be, and then we can determine if we want to do that forward with it at the next board of directors meeting. So obviously, I don't think it's going to be a very large number. I'm not talking about 100 projects that need fencing, but there's enough out there to justify bringing it to the table. So I'll take a look at that for October. As Linda mentioned, Westchester County has the submittal from 2024 for O&M for review. We'll continue to work with Million and the county to answer any questions and advance that forward. We would expect that we may be able to send out checks in the fall, depending on, any details that they share with us or questions they have from us. But, yeah, so we would expect to have those reimbursement checks go out in the fall, and this is the last round of checks from Westchester County. Moving forward, any municipality within Westchester is responsible for funding their own O&M. So underline that a couple times. You guys have had a couple of years where you've had that reimbursement available to you. Make sure that you are prepared moving forward. That's all.
Any other business?
I think it would be good to, I know that Ellen brought up at the executive committee meeting a few weeks ago, just to make sure everybody's aware where we are with the funding as we move forward. Contract with the original, the $10 million contract that we've been working on with the DEP is in process. It's down in the city. We don't have any type of hard deadline as it's going through the city for review and any questions, but we're progressing on that and confident that any projects that we look to take on in 2026 will be able to be funded by that. Of course, we can't take any major steps or actions until we have a kind of a more solid timeline as to where that is. We are advancing multiple contracts with multiple discussions, is a better way to put it, with Westchester County and Putnam County to continue moving the ball forward. I think we've done a lot of progress and been trying to grab as many spots as we can. Those Westchester County and Putnam County funds, which should be right around the ballpark of what the group here needs for admin, keep it moving. It will provide a little bit of a safety net for us in the event we can't use funding from the DEP. We'll have something to fall back on. So those are advancing. And most recently, we have started more serious discussions with the DEP to make sure that any leftover FAD funding that we have from years 6 or 10 will be available in 11 to 15.
Did you see Vinny's letter the other day?
Yes, it did. Yeah. So we'll continue working with DEP to make sure that's available. Whatever that money is would only be applicable to FAD areas.
So one of the things that did come up was we have to do some, I guess, a financial report. You referenced I guess what document was in, so, the format. But I assume that's something that you're gonna be having to put together. It's basically saying where all the money, what's allowed and where everything is.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, we would close out the current contract.
Yep.
We would
We have to give
provide
you
a
the money back.
number that would be returned to the city, and then subsequent to the 10 million, there would be another contract. Newly registered contract for that same amount that was returned.
So I think Christine, you had brought up some comment about there wasn't any way in the current contract to handle that. Was that the case?
Are you I'm not sure what you're talking about. I did raise a concern about the time frame because if you have to close out, I'm not sure how, because I thought the letter that you sent, Vinny, said that we needed to close out the new contract. And so I wanted to get some clarity on that. That is the plan to close out the FAD contract while we are, presumably while we are starting using the new 10 million. And then once
The 10 million would register sometime in the fall, so by 2026, you would start moving with that. And my understanding is at some point in early 26, the years 1 through 10 is going to be finished. So we would then do some kind of, you get running with 10, there would be some kind of financial accounting on the current funds. Those would be returned, and then you could start, drafting a contract for that remaining balance. And I'm assuming that contract is gonna look.
So it would be.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so in other words, you would start working on the the rollover contract, we'll call it the rollover contract, even though it's not really a rollover. We'd start working on the rollover contract during 2026, once we get the financial year closed out.
That's right, we would get financial year closed out, we would get a number that we could use, to negotiate the.
So theoretically, we could, okay, so theoretically, we could potentially get that registered, if not in 2026, certainly by the middle of 2027, as assuming the same kind of schedule that we saw on this one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna commit to any kind of timelines, I don't know exactly.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to make sure I understand
I know the city doesn't generally like two contracts to be open for the same project, and I don't know how hard that is really likes. If that makes sense.
Well, I think.
right. I mean, that's always the concern, that if we have to close out a contract and
Contract that could roll over with a separate contract into the years coming.
Yes, and if whatever amount is returned.
We have to return it, then renegotiate it for it back, and then get a new contract. to extend that money.
I know it sounds kind of convoluted, we should all remember that the contract we're operating under is based essentially on the initial contract we had with the corporation, which was, registered in about 2012. And, there have been a lot of, changes in city processes and things. So it's kind of outdated at this point.
Well, you get a new mayor maybe, so it might be much simpler.
Yeah, I don't get into New York City politics.
So Vinny, I want to make sure that we can look towards working through that rollover contract in such a way that we don't have to wait to start working on the rollover contract until after we've spent all the money out of the 10 million, because then we're going to have a hiatus again where we're going to have to stop contracts, stop working, close everything out, sit around, wringing our hands until we get a new contract, which is going to take another year. So I want to make sure we can overlap. That's what I'm asking.
I'm sure even if we say, oh, we don't like these two contracts, but we understand the need for, to continue the process and.
Well, I just heard the word 2027 mentioned and I didn't see you say, no, that's not, you just said, I'm not gonna talk about time.
I
He doesn't want to
don't
commit
have
to
a great time, I
know, but you know what happens, it's gonna be after July, whatever year.
Yeah.
So July 2027 is a bit too far.
So what I will say at this point is we are going to work to make sure that funding is available when you need it.
So obviously, so one of the
So that
issues.
we have a continuation and not an interruption. That's my question.
So one of the
At
concerns
least that's the goal. Can we say that?
You don't
Right.
want interruption, so make sure that there's not a hiatus in between, and there's no interruption in work between the contract timing.
That's also our goal.
Yeah, so here's
Smooth transition from one product to another.
Yeah, so the concern I have is that you wanna wait until we're done. The problem is, by the time we finish all of these, some of these may straggle on for an extended period of time. So,
When I say done, I mean you're done with years 1 through 10.
but are, with all the projects in years 1 through 10?
Yes.
So what happens
It's
for
your
one,
last,
how long is the one,
years 1 through 10.
what's the longest one here? How long is Kent gonna take?
I think June 26th is a good spot to
Okay.
circle for.
So are we now waiting until a year from now before we can start the discussions, until this is finished?
Well, again, I mean,
Because we're not
the
gonna.
the whole concept of starting a discussion with DEP came up a couple of board of director meetings ago, and I think I asked Rich to send me an email if you'd like to start negotiating something, because that would help me to then,
Push on your
push
side.
things up like.
Okay, did he send you something?
No,
Oh,
so, if I get an email, I could say, okay, here, the corporation's looking to start
We
negotiating.
start a email.
yeah, because if we wait,
Ron's not gonna do anything,
if we wait,
Yes.
so the concern, right, we wait until this thing's done a year from now, and then start,
No, you gotta start now.
yeah.
just from what I've heard, I think, there's a desire within DEP to register the current contract we have in the pipeline, before we really start negotiating on the new contract, and I think,
That's not gonna work.
well, I think.
We're gonna have that this fall.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the
You
tender
think so?
start, that's,
Sounds like it's.
That's the timeline I have so far.
Yeah, that's.
Okay.
Yeah, so this fall, we have the $10 million new contract, then we worry about the old contract, which we're gonna make a new contract to roll over the
That's right.
remaining
But we
money.
can work on the new
Yeah, 10
contract.
million.
What do we got? We need a flow chart here.
That's right, you go on the vulture.
Need a bird chart, yeah.
It's gonna register, sometime in the fall, say, and then, you guys will finish up your work with 10 phosphorus requirements sometime, early to mid, it sounds like 2026, and then at that point, we will be able to final accounting. I think, we have a pretty good template of, what the new contract would look like, given this $10 million contract, we might need to tweak it to sort of restrict that basically when we're other. I don't think the negotiation is gonna take 2 years or whatever it took for 10 million. We have a whole process, it's standard.
Well, I think what we'd like to do is be in a situation where we can send you a check for 10-3 or whatever the number is, 8-3, whatever.
It's gonna be close to 7, I think.
So we're gonna, and you're gonna expect a 10 or you're gonna expect 7?
Well, from my understanding is, and I don't have a very idea, you got 10.5 or something left now, and my understanding, the number I've always heard is it's gonna be about 7 or 7.5.
That's what, yeah.
So that would be the number that would go to the new contract.
And the nature of the $10 million contract, again, guys, we're not gonna get 10 million. It's gonna be it's gonna be a bit of money up front, and then as we start getting closer to spending that, it's gonna have to be constant communication with DEP. So I think to what Chris brought up, there's going to be a point where we're here and we have easy records and data showing, hey, we've already burned 8 million of that. And just submitted a budget of 2 million to the DEP. That seems like a pretty good trigger point to make sure if we get to that spot and we don't have this bad contract already lined up and ready to roll, that seems like a pretty good spot to start really springing to the heavens. But that spot is several years out. As great of a program we have here, we're not gonna burn $10 million in 3 years. I'll do it as fast as I can, trust me, but it's gonna take a little bit of time. We do need to make sure that we're constantly asking the DP to advance this. So we will let's keep talking to them and making sure that we have that opportunity. But there's gonna be a point where we've gone through $8 million of spending, we budgeted 2 million, the DP has to recognize, okay, well, once that 2 million is gone, it's an easy transition right into the next phase.
And the 17 million that we'll have between the 10 and the 7 is half of what we need, just so everybody understands. Is everybody here is on hook for the other 17, or we need to figure that part out? Selfish.
And I think that Kevin said that his understanding is that this carryover is still FAD. Vinny, the letter didn't say that, but is that the understanding?
That's my understanding, we've had.
Okay.
Is it shared and connected basis?
It's gonna get the static connected basis like 33.
Okay. So theoretically, the new contract would be the same as the 10 million contract with that addendum, essentially, for eligibility.
What I would think would make the most sense, I mean, first of all, so we don't have different requirements going on at the same time. That's something, and we have a template that we all, for better or for worse, have negotiated and agreed upon. So I think that's probably a good launching point.
Well, the difference, there is a difference,
And make it-
right? There is a difference. I'm sorry, you guys are breaking up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt. Well, I guess the difference is that some of the things in the new contract relate to the grant agreement with DEC, which aren't relevant here, right?
Correct. Ben Brad and all of these things, I guess, would have to come in. Unless you want to leave them in, we can leave them in.
Good.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to add?
Chris, do we need authorization to start negotiations, or can the president just do that? What? Talking to the.
And then, yeah.
Christine, that was to you, I think.
Did you say, do we need authorization to start negotiations?
Is that in that email?
Just-
Right, you need that email?
An email would be helpful.
while we have everybody together, do we need to vote?
You want to
Authorize
just
it, or
authorize
please-
Yeah.
the president to send an email to the DEP requesting exactly what you needed to request.
I mean, if you guys want to start negotiating, we can get roll over contract, you can say that.
Do we need that?
We don't need it.
No,
We don't need it.
Rich can just
We
do
should.
it. and it's-
A lot.
Want to make a motion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Someone gotta tell Rich you wrote that.
Yeah.
Which abstained.
Can I just ask about the county funds for a second, the new requests, I know Westchester County had agreed, and I wasn't here last time, but I think Putnam County had agreed to fund at 1.5 million, is that right?
Correct.
And Putnam County intends to, enter into this letter agreement about what we're going to kind of set up the guy with us. So we can start our process of sort of reviewing that. I will just say, I think the way it worked last time, and it's been several years, so I don't exactly remember, I think like the counties generally signs that first. And then sends it to DEP, because it's probably what would be most important person in the room, I guess. I would just like to, have our lawyers look at it in English before we get signatures.
Sure.
Is it possible for Putnam County to send me an email saying that, like to start negotiating this letter agreement?
Yes. Perfect.
Thank you.
You covered all bases today.
Thank you, Vicky.
Well, he's trying to motivate the rest of the organization.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Anybody have anything else? Yeah, I get a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
So moved.
You get a second?
Same.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I ask you something?
Thank you.